Good evening. It's Monday, October 21st, 2024. The time is 5 p.m. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Argyle ISD Board of Trustees. At this time, we'll determine if a quorum is present.
Leona McDade, present.
Josh Westrom, present.
Rich McDowell, present.
Leanne Arto, present.
Matt Slayton, present.
Craig Hawksworth, present. We do have a quorum established. The time is still 5 p.m. and we will adjourn to executive session.
All right, good evening. It's 6:06 p.m. We have returned from executive session. At this time, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, Ms. Campbell, welcome, welcome.
Good evening, Dr. Carpenter, President Slayton. I'm Robin Campbell, and I'm the proud principal at Hilltop Elementary, and I am so excited to introduce you all to some of our fantastic students. A little bit about our students that are joining us tonight. These fifth grade students serve on our safety committee every morning, but some would probably describe them as the Smile Squad. So it is the best way to start your day as you're dropping off your kiddos to have these friendly students helping our kiddos enter the building and get out of their cars in a very safe way. So I will let them introduce themselves and share with you all what they love about Hilltop Elementary.
Hi, I'm Reese Withers. What I love most about Hilltop Elementary is all the teachers who have led me to how smart I am now, how my good grades are. If I didn't have all my teachers from all of my years at Hilltop, I would not be to my learning experience how I am right now.
That's wonderful, thank you.
Turn the mic off.
My name's Emma Westrom, and what my favorite thing about Hilltop is STEM.
Okay, very nice.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ailey Filler. My favorite thing about Hilltop is when I walk in that door, I know that there's going to be someone there to welcome me, whether it's my principal or my teachers.
My name is Beck Coulter, and my favorite thing about Hilltop is my friends and my teachers.
My name is Matthew Shawhart, and my favorite thing about Hilltop Elementary is how kind the teachers are.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all very much. We're going to do a picture real quick.
Perfect. Thank y'all. Great job.
Truth. There's your bifecta.
All right. Thank you again to Hilltop for leading our pledges. At this time, we will have a prayer from Mr. Hawksworth.
Just bow your heads. Dear Lord, we come to you tonight asking for peace and your guidance for our community and our school district. May we be your voice, hands, and feet in this community and make decisions that honor you for our students, staff, and community. We ask for your guidance in bringing this community together to do what is in the best interest of students and not ourselves. Please be with this administration, teachers and students each and every day. We love you, God, and are so grateful for all the blessings you continually bestow upon this district. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. We do not have anyone signed up for public forum this evening, so we will move on to recognitions of our esteemed principals.
That's right. So we are very fortunate tonight to have in the room with us our campus principals. This is National Principals Month, the month of October, so we should be celebrating them all year long, but we're showering them this month with some special recognitions, and I know that their campuses have done an incredible job of making them feel loved. This is absolutely a stellar group of principals. I know, speaking on behalf of our team and just the jobs that they do each day, we could not ask for a harder working group of women in the arena, as we like to say. But y'all do an incredible job, and we're so fortunate to have you. We have a few tokens of our appreciation to share with you this evening, but most importantly, we just want you to know how much how important you are to this district, how important you are to this community, because you are loved in so many ways. So thank you so much, and we're going to call you up, and then we want to celebrate you a little bit further. So Hilltop Elementary, Miss Robin Campbell.
It's a great spot.
You just stay right there. We're going to bring your gifts to you. South Elementary, Miss Kristen Haynes. West Elementary, Miss Renee Funderburg. And can't be with us this evening, but we know she's here in spirit. Jane Russman Elementary, Miss Lauren Tullis. Leading our 6th grade center and all the 6th graders we have over there, Miss Holly Williams. And leading over at the middle school with the mixtape regime. In fact, we have some mixtape Monday going on today, so I can't wait to see it. Okay, can't wait to see it. Miss Donna Lumsden. And leading the helm over at Argyle High School, Miss Shannon Knowles.
And I know that y'all, this is our special gift from the board, is that y'all are welcome to stay the whole night, just like old times.
You can come to any board meeting.
You want to have old times again? So.
We won't take you up on it.
Yeah, hold it. Yeah, can you turn them up with the logos? You know, yeah, right there. Perfect. There we go. Thank y'all.
Right.
Myself. Bye.
Where you going? Wait, where you going?
Okay, the other recognition we want to take a moment and honor tonight is HR Professional. Actually, HR Human Resources Professional Day was back at the first part of October, so we want to take a moment to celebrate tonight our amazing HR team. We have a team of 3 leading about 750 employees, and so there's not a day goes by that they're taking care of somebody, whether it's a sub or a teacher or a para or an administrator. Do an incredible job, and there's a lot of things that flow through that department, and they do it effortlessly. And so we'd like to take just a moment to recognize Dr. Chris Daniel as the leader of the HR department. We have Miss Morgan Grifford, admin assistant, benefits, and all things, everything else. And then Miss Jessica Mayer, she's our HR specialist. So. Yes, we'll take a picture.
Perfect, thank y'all.
Okay.
It's not pin shooting. We'll talk. We'll talk sometime.
All right.
How are y'all?
You snuck up there.
I did.
Let's
Took that
go.
chance where y'all.
She said, let's go.
Okay, so this is, we're gonna open up our public hearing for our school first rating. This is a required hearing every year. There we go, okay. So kind of what is first is Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. It started back in '99. And then when we're looking at the rating for, I know we say this year, but the most recent rating is actually for 23-24, but the data is from 22-23. And that's based on when the data actually flows to TEA. So everybody's rating this year is called the 23-24 rating, but based on 22-23 data. So the goal is to achieve quality performance, of course, in the management of the school district's financial resources. We've received the highest rating for 22 years in a row, and that would be since this was formed, and that's been well beyond when I started here. It's gone on for many, many years. How the ratings are broken down, you can have an A, B, C, or an F. Anything below a 70 or a critical indicator is an F. There's 21 indicators. There's 11 that are measured on a point scale, and the rest of them are either critical or ceiling indicators. So we'll go through all of our indicators. I'm not going to read each one exactly for you, so if you want to stop and have a question about it, just let me know. But basically, this first one is, did we submit our audit report on time? And of course, that's just a pass or fail, and we passed that. Did we have an unmodified opinion on the audit? And again, passed. And any of these, if you fail, again, it's an automatic F on there. Were we in compliance with all the payment terms of all of our debt agreements? And of course, we passed that. And did we make timely payments to government agencies? So basically retirement systems, workers' comp, things like that. And we passed. And then what was our total net position balance in government activities column in the statement of net position? This goes back to the audit. And of course, it's net of a few things there, and it says, was it greater than 0? And we passed that. It's a ceiling indicator. If you do fail it, there's only a certain level you could make on the report. Indicator 6 was talking about the change in assigned and unassigned fund balance over 3 years. We passed that one. The number of days of cash on hand in current investments for the general fund. Of course, it excludes facilities acquisition and construction. We had a 10 on that. What was the measure of the current assets to current liabilities? And was it sufficient to cover short-term debt? And of a 0 to 10, we had 10. And did our general fund reserves equal or exceed our expenditures? And if not, did we have 60 days of cash on hand? And again, 0 to 10, we had a 10. Does the district average less than a 10% variance when comparing budget revenues to actual revenues for the last 3 fiscal years? This one has not been scored in several years, and so all districts receive a 10. It's looking at our ratio of long-term liabilities to our total assets. It also gives an exception if your school district increase of students in membership over 5 years was 7% or more than 1,000 in membership, and then the district would pass. But we passed on just the calculation and got a 10. And then what was the correlation between future debt requirements and district's assessed property value? This one we scored a 4 out of possible 10. This is the same score we received last year, and I see us having the same score a couple of years in the future. This is the only one we score less than the maximum on in these indicators. Was the school district's administrative cost ratio equal to or lesser than the threshold ratio? Again, a 10. And did we not have I know these are worded a little differently, but basically, did we not have a 15% decline in students to staff ratio over 3 years? All districts receive a 10 because it's currently not being scored. Was our district's ADA within the allotted range of the district's biennial pupil projections submitted to TEA? So every 2 years, we have to look at what TEA thinks our ADA will be, and then we have to send in our own projections, and you've got to be within a certain range. And this was on a all districts receive 5 because, again, it's not being scored. And then they go back and look at our PEIMS information compared to our audit, and you have to be a total variance of less than 3%. So it's information that we're submitting the same, and it's a critical indicator with a ceiling, and we passed that. Was the audit full of material weaknesses? And again, passed. Did they indicate on the audit that it was free of any instances of material non-compliance, and it goes into grants, contracts, and law-related for all of our funds? And a 0 of 10, we scored a 10. Did we post everything that we're required to by all the different governmental agencies? Again, a 0 to 5, and we had a 5. And did the school district's administration and school board members discuss any changes or impact to local, state, and federal funding within 121 days of our adopted budget? So you'll know there's several times I point out when we're talking about those budget workshops or giving a budget update, hey, this is a requirement, we have to talk about this. That was what this is related to, and we passed that. And then this one was new for this year. Did we receive an adjusted repayment schedule for more than one fiscal year for an over-allocation of FSP? Or was it because of a financial hardship? And we passed that. So we had 94 out of a possible 100 points, which gives us superior achievement. Then there is required disclosures. Every year you have to go in here. And I always like to give us a disclaimer that since this was over 22-23, some of the board members, you may have 2 in one spot because the elections are in May, and so you may have more than one board member during that time. Dr. Wright was here in the superintendency at that point in time, so there's the different, you have to look at meals, lodging, transportation, motor fuel, and other. And then this talks about the required disclosure of any fees or compensation received by the superintendent for professional consulting and other professional services, and none was reported. And same thing for gifts and business transactions for everybody, and none was reported. And then the superintendent's contract is required to be on our website, and it is. It has been anytime it's amended. And that, I know that was kind of quick going through there, but that was 21 indicators on the first rating. Again, one was new, and we had the same one that was below the 10 mark rating that we had the year before. Are there any questions on that?
I just want to clarify. You said that the district has received the state's highest rating for financial integrity. How many years in a row?
22.
And that's different from the Transparency Star, which you received for how many years?
The Transparency Stars we started that in 23.
Okay.
And those are different.
Great. Thank you for your hard work.
Thank y'all very much. Okay.
Liz, I'll reiterate that too. Thank you for everything you do in managing the finances of the district and how you've educated us all on, the different challenges in public education financing, and just how you make those adjustments and keep us informed. I will say that it was a 94 out of 100. The only one that didn't get a 10 was the one that really deals with fast growth.
It does.
That you're basically accumulating debt to handle the growth. And fast growth districts are never going to score well on the one that we came up short on.
Very few of us. We've gone out and looked. We spent some time looking at that last year and comparing us to other fast growth districts, and we were all similarly rated on that.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Well, if that's it, I'll close the public hearing. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if we can pull up the donations, please. Okay, the October 2024 donations, AABC donation number 48, $23,400 for teams overnight travel. AABC number 49, $525 for music speakers for practice and games at girls soccer. AABC $447, video template library yearly subscription. AABC, is that correct, number 1? Anyway, I'm just gonna read it that way.
Yes.
Number 1, okay. Start it over. $404 for tennis team banners, A, B, C. Number 2, $3,681.90 for tennis ball machines. Argyle South Elementary PTO, $400 for lunch loaner program. JRE PTA, $2,000. Sensory Path System Collaboration Space. Atmos Energy, $10,000. Facility use while making repairs in the area. Argyle Education Foundation, $80,000. $56,000 was a donation to the district. $24,000 campus grants, which was $3,428.57 each. Total October donations, $120,857.90. Does anyone have any questions on any of the other consent items? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent items as presented.
So moved.
Dr. McDade, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Matthew Slayton with a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Okay.
I think I'm up first on this one.
Yes, you are.
Okay, all right, superintendent's report. So obviously, it's been a lot going on the last month since we met last time. A lot of our extracurriculars are well underway, but I want to start out real quick. I think you probably have seen this in social media and our newsletters, but niche.com announced the #1 ranked school district in Denton County and the top 10 school districts in the state of Texas. And Argyle ISD is the #1 ranked school district in Denton County and #9 in the state. So, you know, that goes to years and years of accolades to the foundation that's been built in this district and the excellence and expectation that's expected. Bless you. So congratulations to everyone for that. I know that our students and our teachers and our parents and community are very proud of that, as they should be. So excited to announce that. Just from our kind of going through our athletics, football is ranked #3 in the Padilla poll. They had a big win on Friday night, so they're in sole possession of the district championship right now. So we just keep taking care of business each week, and we should have that as a title for us in a brand new district. So they'll be back at home this week with Burleson. So big Friday night game here. Volleyball is #4 in Max Preps. Had a huge win over Colleyville Heritage that had beat them in 5 the time before the first round. And so that puts us into a tie for first place in district for volleyball. Tennis went 16-2. Regional finalists, district champions, had an outstanding season. I did not advance on Friday, but had a great season, and we're very proud of our tennis team. Cross country, we have freshman Madison Chapman running at the regional meet. Actually, I think today. Tomorrow. Okay, I was going to say, because it says 10:21 on here, but I think it's tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, very good. So tomorrow. So go Madison. Maddie. Boys and girls basketball. So it's kicking off. Time is here for basketball season, and Midnight Madness is this Friday at the middle school. So football's going on, and then we'll have Midnight Madness going on. So a lot going on at the middle school this weekend. And then our varsity marching band was named class champion at the Bands of America Regional on October 5th and advanced to the UIL area round this past weekend. So fabulous show. They sound incredible. If you haven't had a chance to hear them, whether it be marching at a football game or marching at a competition or just sitting out here and listening to them, they're spectacular. So loud, it just sounds so good. So we're proud of them, looking forward to that. And then we also have 2 very talented art students that had exhibits on display at the Tassi-Tasby Fall convention. I did not realize that until we got that information. And so congratulations to Zoe Bucchio and Sarah Montoya for being on display at the state level. So we're proud of them. Theater productions are coming up. We have the high school fall musical, The Lightning Thief, will open November 7th and run for the 10th. We have over 50 students in that cast, so that's an incredible number of students being involved in the high school theater. And then the middle school production, Into the Woods, is the following weekend and has over 35 students in that production. So just really strong numbers across our campuses with athletics and our fine arts. And then our middle school choir had 7 students advance to regionals. We had 20 audition, but there were 950 students total that auditioned and only 270 spots. So very impressive with our middle school choir. And then elementary, I'm going to give you some love because we have 769 students trying out for UIL. 769 students trying out for UIL. So that is incredible. So good luck with that, with all your friends trying out. So great celebrations across the district. We always want to make sure we mention each month. And then just some updates. So one of our favorite times of the year, I think the board will attest to this, and I'm going to give them the floor in a minute, but we started doing boardwalks last year, and we've done two of the three have happened this fall, and then we'll have 3 more in the spring. But we started that initiative last year, and we take small groups of board members to our campuses, and we go to every campus. So this year, we have 1 extra campus to attend, so we go to 7. We eat lunch on a campus with students in the lunchroom, and it's pretty fabulous. So I appreciate what I appreciate the most with our being able to take our board is they have jobs and they're working and they have lots of busy lives, and they take a whole day and carve that out just to be on campuses with our teachers and our staff and our students. And that's pretty incredible to have that dedication. So do y'all want to share your perspective of those trips? Anybody that have been on them yet? Or I'm sure you have something to say.
Well, I mean, I'll just start out when we started doing this last year. I mean, even having been a career educator, to go to all last year 6 campuses in one day was absolutely eye-opening. To be able to see from kindergarten all the way up to high school kids in one day, and just that progression. And we didn't necessarily see them all in order, but you got to see everybody. And it's I always say I'm the big picture person. I fly at 30,000 feet, so for me, seeing that whole thing together was absolutely incredible. And I want to thank you for that. I've already been on my one this fall, so and it was equally as wonderful. And we squeezed in 1 more campus. How? I have no clue.
We walked fast.
We walked fast. we walked fast and ate fast. So it's all good. But thank you for that. Thanks for that opportunity.
Yeah, I think they're great opportunities for us as a board to not only be able to engage with teachers and administrators at the campus, but to truly engage with the why of this district and get to see just the excitement that these kids have in education. That's what's energizing, and that's what I know for me helps drive me as a board member and being able to serve this district. And makes it a lot more in your face, and it gives you a lot of perspective for the hard work that our teachers are doing, going home and just being exhausted just from walking around, let alone engaging and educating the youth of this district. It's just amazing work that we're doing here, and being able to see the amount of collaboration that's going across campuses and across the district, and how everyone is just working together for the same goal for these kids. It's great.
I think that's the biggest thing for me was just seeing the teachers, how they have their classrooms captivated, right? These kids are engaged. We sat in math classes, we sat in all kinds of different classes, and just seeing how these teachers.
Mr. Hawksworth got arrested.
Oh yeah, you did.
I sat
Law
in that
enforcement.
class too.
In law enforcement.
Law enforcement class.
Practicing how to put handcuffs on Mr. Hawksworth.
So it just, the level of engagement, right? I can tell you when I was in school, I probably wasn't that engaged. I was sitting in the back, but our teachers from every level, from the elementaries to the high school and all points in between, they just have those kids captive. When you walk in that classroom, to see them staring at their teacher, wanting more, and even in the high school, it's kind of shocking to me with high schoolers. But they were, and it's just really amazing, right? And I get to be in a lot of schools, and seeing this in our school is different. It's just different around here. So that's a tribute to our teachers. It's a tribute to our administrators, campus administrators, and the community. It's just, we've, knock on wood, we got to keep it, but we've found something, and I think that's what's made this district grow. So.
And we've done the chicken dance.
That's right, we've done it all, I know.
With what, kindergartners?
I think so, yes.
Well, I'll just say this, I haven't been on mine yet, but thank you, Dr. Carpenter, for implementing this. I mean, it's something I've heard of, and I value it, and I'm looking forward to the one we do in November. And campus principals, I like the fact that you guys not only show us things that are working well and going great, but you also take time to show us, hey, this is areas where we need support, reinforcement, and it's just great feedback to see it firsthand.
Well, and I appreciate on ours, the teachers walking us through some of the testing and assessments and how they're using that to help students set goals. So we got to see some real life learning happening in the different classrooms, but then we got some behind the scenes with teachers, and that was really special. And then getting to have lunch at the high school, it was pretty cool to see everyone get their plate and get seated and
Somewhere.
get something to eat for the day. So
Was it
was
mega
fun.
lunch?
It
It
was.
was a mega lunch, and I got to see 2 of my girls, and that's always a good day.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I think it's gonna be Mr. Westrum's birthday on his walk.
Is it?
So there's some crowns and some things you have to
Well,
wear.
somebody else had a birthday and had to wear crowns,
I
so
almost thought that was the picture you already had.
not sure the crown will stay on, but we'll figure something out.
It ain't my birthday.
Just say that there's lots of pictures Mr. Herron can use from our boardwalk.
There are.
So.
And I think one of the things, just from a curriculum standpoint, is we've been on these. Of course, I'm on each one of them, but we were at 3 different elementaries at 3 different times in grade levels and saw the same lesson. Like we saw the consistency across the science lessons, and so that was great to see that, because that's all coming to fruition. I know. It's a work in progress, but we're getting there, right? So, anyway, okay, moving on. Thank you all for sharing that little bit there. And so, obviously, the school funding referendum is on the ballot. Early voting opened today. So we had 29 total meetings across the district in the last 3 weeks, which were staff meetings, parent meetings, community meetings, coffee talks. We also conducted a YouTube Live version of the presentation last Thursday and sent it out on Friday. If you haven't checked that email, if you're in the community or staff that have seen that, we have actually broke it down into certain segments. So if there's a certain topic you want to learn about in the presentation, you can go straight to it. But please watch that if you haven't seen it, or watch it again, even if you've seen a presentation, because, as with any district, there are lots of narratives out there as people are going through these elections, whether it be social media or wherever. And we've been very available in this whole process with the community. So we just want to make sure that you ask the questions you need to be an informed voter. And we're still here for questions, because election day is not until the 5th of November. So please ask if you still have questions. Just remind everyone, the efficiency audit and the 3-year budget books on our website. It's under our finance department on the website. Those were presented in September at the board meeting, and so those are on our website. And then from a construction update, you're going to hear from Mr. Cohen in a little bit, but exciting with the town of Flower Mound. We have our work progressing on the stadium. IAC ground was graded the past few days, and then we're scheduling pre-construction meeting with town of Argyle on middle school. So things are moving along there. And then next month, we will have our first quarter demographer report, and the demographer will also present recommendation for the zoning. So that'll be at our November regular meeting. From a community engagement, Eagle Ambassadors kicked off last week, and we look forward to working with them this year. We also hosted our retired teachers on Tuesday. It was a school holiday, but we came up and hosted our retired teachers that day. It was awesome. Really inspired to hear their stories. Many of them go back to the very beginning of the district as a district, and so it was really nice to hear their perspectives of how things have grown and what they've seen, but they're incredibly supportive, and that was awesome to see. And then we're finalizing our committee selections, so those people will start receiving emails in this next couple of weeks, and we'll get those posted online. So a lot of good stuff going on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Real quick, thank you to your staff and cabinet that did all those meetings, because that was no small effort. Y'all were all over this district and community. Dr. Jordan, Dr. Daniels, Liz, Rick, and his whole team. So that was no small. And it was nice to see how you guys took questions, fielded questions in those meetings. And you, as the meetings progressed, you worked in those questions into your presentation, and so it kind of evolved. And I appreciate your effort.
And thank you for those of you that, some of you were able to be at some of them more than others, but just appreciated your engagement as well with the community in those meetings. So, all right, now you can talk more about construction.
Definitely.
We see it every day. We pull up now, so it's nice to see
right.
the aerials.
It is. Good evening. These are not glamorous pictures yet, but to someone in construction, they are.
Okay.
So there's a lot that goes in the ground to support all these buildings and structures we're building that at the end you never see and never even think about, but there's really a lot. So we do have some aerials just to kind of give you an overview. So this is right out the back here, this shot we're looking at. So this used to have an open drainage channel all the way across from left to right, out of the picture even. So they've come in and they've laid 2 48-inch diameter pipe lines all the way down there, got it backfilled, thankfully, before it has rained again, so that the weather is helping us right now. On the left side, on this side of the driveway, if you noticed when you came in, there's still a lot of work going on. They're waiting on a few of their fittings to come in so they can finish that up, and then that will all get backfilled, so we won't have these open ditches anymore that we've had for the last 3 or 4 years. And here we're looking at a shot which is the parking lot for the home side. So they're putting that to grade right now. And that's what we see in this picture. It had about 2 foot of fill required. So they hauled a lot of dirt from the middle school site over here for that. And then on the other side, we'll get to that slide here in a moment, for the indoor activity center, it's about a 3 foot cut required to get to the subgrade there. So we're moving a lot of that over here to get our 2 foot. So we're trying to balance the site and, you know, provide a place where all the haul off at the middle school so we don't have to pay to take it somewhere else. Keeping that in district, making use of it. And here we're on the side, visitors side, and then in the far background, top of the photo, you can see the indoor activity center where it's taking shape. So that's where they have cut out about 3 feet right now, and then they will be moisture conditioning another 12 feet down from that elevation. So that just involves excavating that dirt, adding the water, putting it back in, getting it to proper compaction, basically pre-swelling the soil to try to mitigate any movement in the future. And then this picture, you can actually see some of the RCP, the reinforced concrete pipe. That's what you see, the white stacks of pipe here at the bottom, and then there's a long row that kind of goes up there in the center of the picture. So that's all going in the ground underneath the future parking lot, underneath where all the field events are going to be built. That process will be starting very soon, so we can have those new field events in place on the ground for January when practice will start. This is same side, just looking from the opposite end. So here, this is the indoor activity center, and they're about a third of the way through excavating that down 3 feet. Some of our milestones that we're tracking. This will be the first time you've seen that. So we got the permit from the town September 5th. We are scheduled to begin steel erection March next year. Bleacher install, I think, will happen somewhere near that same time frame. It's going to start on the visitor side right now because that will be ready sooner. And then the contractual substantial completion, keep that in mind, contractual is November, I believe, the 20th. So they had some 400 calendar days or so from the date that they were able to start work, which was the date of the permit. We're doing everything we can and working with them to see where we can pick up time. Right now the weather is helping us a lot at the moment. So the goal is to get it open sooner, but contractually they're obligated to the November date. And then I do have Marty Sims with VLK here in the back in case you have any questions specific for him. I forgot to tell you that at the beginning of this. Are there any questions on that? And here we've got just look ahead. We're going to continue grading, continue with our utilities. They're going to start on the water pipe very soon, and then they've got sanitary sewer after that. Pier drilling, I think we'll have that started near the end of the month, so that will start. There's I forget the total number of piers. It's 400 or 500 total on the project. It's a lot. And then paving will begin as soon as all the utilities are in the ground. So we're probably a month, maybe a little longer, from seeing some actual paving going down. All right, moving on to the middle school. Again, no real glamorous photos for you yet. We still have 50 acres of dirt here. That's all these slides really show to the average observer. But this is us looking from north to south. So here in the foreground, you can actually see the drive starting to take place that will go around the north end. And there toward the middle, they're actually excavating that out. So that's our building footprint you see starting to take shape there in the middle. And here's another closer shot of the building pad. The parking lot's now, toward the bottom in the foreground out of the photo, and a little bit closer shot of the building footprint being excavated. So they'll continue grading. They've probably got another 3 weeks or so, and then most of that rough grading will be wrapped up at that point. They've started the moisture conditioning there for the building pad, again, which involves the over excavation of the soil and the addition of the water to pre-swell it and then putting it back, compacting it. Utilities will begin just as soon as we get our pre-construction meeting with the town scheduled and done. At that point, they will issue that permit and let us go to work, put in the water lines, sewer lines, and drainage in the ground. We'll be able to get inspections. On the building side, we are in the second round of review with Safe Built. They don't do this internally. They use Safe Built, a third party, to do that for them. They were actually fairly quick to respond on the first review. The comments were fairly minor, if I can use that word. We were able to respond within a week, so I feel like before we're really ready, we should have that building permit in hand.
Okay.
Any questions?
Did you have a substantial completion date on this one?
I do. Next slide. July of 2026. Again, that's a contractual date. At this time, I feel like we'll be able to better that. That is quite a ways out, and they have been able to make good progress, even though we don't have all the permits we need yet. There's a lot of dirt work to do, so that's why it hasn't impacted that schedule seriously yet. So I feel like we'll be able to improve upon that date at this point in time.
But just for informational purposes, I mean, that was a May 22 bond, right?
Yes, that was in the May 22 bond.
And so just for, I mean, it's important to remind ourselves from the passage of a bond, and then we sold that bond in December of 22. So that same year that the bond passed, we sold the bonds. And it's, we just progressed as you would through construction and design and procurement and architects and hopefully permits. It's 4 years.
It's 4 years.
From a bond. Yeah.
It's a lot longer than you realize, when you think of it from inception to completion and factor all of those activities in there. It's a long time.
And then this one's going to open in 2026 at capacity, basically.
Without, if we moved everybody over there, it would be
Yeah,
immediately.
it would be. I mean, that's the.
Yeah, that's the reason behind.
Yeah, the whole plan and the pinch points, and so.
Correct. And then knowing that we need 4 years from a bond passage to have another middle school on the ground.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're sitting here at 2025, so you'd look at 2029.
Which is a year later than we said we needed it from last spring's bond.
If last spring's bond had passed, we would have been pretty much on time.
We'd have made it by 28, correct?
Yeah. So then you just wind up putting the kids where you have the space. Yeah, got it.
Any other questions for Mr. Cohen?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Mr. Ledford.
How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
So we wanted to give you a little bit of an update with our operations departments. A lot's been going on. I know it's still early, but just wanted to show you how much has been going on since the start of school. So we'll start with the transportation department. Shows how many miles we've gone with trips so far, how many miles we've gone with routes, and then the miles we've used to train new drivers to start. We've had 95 field trip requests, 76 coach-driven bus trips and 49 suburban and sedan assignments. And that's just a month and a half. I mean, there's still a lot to do. Fuel report, 5,660 gallons of diesel, over 1,500 gallons of regular gas. And then our ridership here, you can see, of course, how much we've grown, but the total that we're transporting to school right now is over 2,500 students. So it's definitely changed a lot just in 1 year.
I just like to point out that, you know, one of the things I always think about when we're talking about situation of elementary schools is, you know, the community, putting these schools in those communities reduces the ridership substantially, which saves a tremendous amount of operational costs. And so like at West, you have 6 riders.
Yes.
And at JRE, you have 39.
One bus.
Whereas Hilltop is 510 because it's not situated in a community.
Right.
It's more of a commuter school.
About 80% of the campus.
So 80%. So that's a big difference, and over time, that's a huge cost savings.
For sure, for sure.
But then we know it lends itself to other challenges with traffic lines.
Yeah.
It does that.
Car lines.
For sure. So the last time we visited, we talked about maybe giving you something, an idea of how many buses that we can purchase. Liz and I have been discussing back and forth, and right now we feel that 4 buses a year for the next 3 years is probably our goal. We're struggling right now to find places to put them. There's not enough room. There is enough room back there where the current site is. It's just not concrete. So we're looking at some different ideas on finding some ways to park those buses. But that's in the works.
Do you have an idea like how many buses you can park in an acre or something? I mean, do you have a?
It all varies on where that middle line is and how you build those islands, and
Okay.
I'm sure Marty could probably answer that a lot better than I could, but it varies, doesn't it?
Yeah, it depends on, you know, slope and other things, you know, certainly affect that. And, you know, access turning radiuses, those type of things, but we looked at a couple options of increasing your current area as well as potentially enclosing some detention that's currently, detention area that could be enclosed or covered up to allow for additional service parking.
So hopefully there's enough room there so we won't have to go anywhere else, but we'll see. Okay, going on to the maintenance department. So we had an issue at the beginning of school this year to start. That was the first time that we'd seen so many parts that were giving us trouble with HVAC systems. So we've worked hard on developing a plan and hopefully with some good planning that we're gonna make sure that doesn't happen again. So the changes in the HVAC, we're gonna increase filter changes from 2 to 3 times a year. We're gonna wash the coils. There's 2 sets of coils. We're gonna wash those we went washing them 1 time. We're gonna go to twice a year. Amping out capacitors and any electrical issues to 2 times a year. Increase belt checks to 2 times a year and change them once a year. We're going to run the units a full week before the teachers return. We had a vision of saving the most amount of money we could, and we ran them a little bit, but we didn't run them the duration of time that first week like we were going to have a week of school. So we thought we were ready, and then all of a sudden when they got here, just things started going. So we are planning to order enough attic stock to cover us regardless of what happens. Liz and I have been talking about that back and forth, and we've got Daniel, our HVAC lead technician, trying to give us what that looks like. Hopefully we'll be able to take care of that and have a lot better plan.
Were you able to do all these changes within your budget?
So it's tough. We've found a way to make it work so far.
We have, August was a high expense month. If y'all, I know y'all all had some feedback. We had a lot of units down in August and a lot of repairs. And so this is kind of, Mr. Ledford's worked with our maintenance department and with Coach Moses and trying to come up with a way, if we can do some more preventative maintenance up front.
Kind of offsets.
It would offset and hopefully be less costly and less uncomfortable for those that are in the heat that have an AC unit down. That overall the preventive maintenance is key. So we feel like that this is something that we have to do. And so they're, we're at the beginning of the budget year for them, and things are already kind of tight in their area. That's just something that we've got to watch all year long, because you can't ignore your HVAC issues. There's certain things in the maintenance department that if you don't keep up with it, you're gonna feel the pain of it later on. And I think that's kind of some of the stuff we felt this past August throughout the district, and things that we've got to do, and some things that he's putting in place with our maintenance department to make sure that going forward, that it's better.
We're definitely going to be more prepared.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, when you go to filter changes 2 to 3 times, that's one filter change extra for every HVAC unit you have. I don't know how many you have.
So we have, with the number of staff that we have, it does make it hard to change them 3 times a year. But we were lucky to come across somebody that was wanting us to look at their product, and it's going to be almost as cheap to use them as it is for us to do it, and it's going to save us money, because they're going to build these filter systems, and then they're going to put these sleeves inside there. So the filter is not going to be a full-blown filter. It's going to be like a frame with just the folded coils in there, the filter. So it's going to protect us, it's going to protect our units, and it's going to be cheaper, and somebody else is going to do it, and it's cheaper for us. So we haven't started that yet, but we think we're really fortunate to come across these guys, for sure. Because it does cost us about $10,000 to change the filters one time in our district. That's one time. So
estimate, you're 700 units in the district?
700 to 800.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But we're thinking that we're going to be better this way. As far as the work orders go, I wanted to show you what the 1 year made a difference in the number of work orders that we had. Last July we had 53. This July we had 172. In August of 2023 we had 339, and this year we've got 563. So that alone is it puts a lot of stress on that department. September things start to settle down a little bit, but we still had more. October's not over, so we didn't give you that. But there's a lot of work orders that they're doing monthly.
How are you trending for October?
Do what?
How are you trending for October, you think?
It's going to be more. There's every month this year is going to be more.
Well, but we have another campus.
We do, but that should be all under warranty.
Yeah.
We do have to, there are other things that we have to maintain, but a lot of that's under warranty. And they did have a lot of HVAC issues too to start off with. I think there's just some bad blower motors that got sent out, and everybody was struggling with that, not just us. So it's taken care of now. We're in a better place. Okay, so I did want to show you the mowing schedule. This is a little bit of a struggle for us. It takes us 12 days to mow one time in our district. And that kind of gives you an overview of how much time it takes at each of the campuses. We are down 2 FTEs. We had 7 last year. This year we have 5. We added JRE, and I think last year we could do it in maybe 9 days, 8 or 9 days, and this year it's 12. So that's tough, but we're keeping moving for sure. We do have one guy that breaks off and mows the practice fields at the high school once a week or twice a week. He does it on, I think, Mondays and Thursdays. That way, when those kids go out there to practice, they've got something nice to practice on, and it's not, the turf isn't taking the beating. Or sometimes you've got soccer, sometimes you've got softball that have to go out there and practice. So that's being done. Then on Friday night for home games, all of these guys, it takes them all day to get that place ready. I mean, there's a lot to do. And the day we had the cricket outbreak, I mean, we were over there, I was over there with them. We were doing everything we possibly could to get rid of them crickets. And as soon as we got rid of them, they just come right back. So it does look a lot better. I went over there today and I checked underneath the bleachers on the home side, and you won't even be able to recognize it because it looks immaculate right now. So hopefully it stays that way for Friday night.
Well, and I'll add this too. I know it shows admin building mowing here, but there's not a day goes by that we don't pull up and Mr. Ledford's out either blowing the sidewalks off, sweeping the crickets, whatever it is. He's taking care of the grounds around here himself so that it doesn't pull one of these guys off of a campus other than just the mowing. So we appreciate you. You're here early, and I know you're taking care of a lot of that just to keep the guys on the campuses. So.
For sure. Thank you. Okay, student nutrition. So this just gives you an idea of how things are different this year compared to last year with this. The enrollment totals last year was 5370. This year it's 6089. When we pulled this is about 2 weeks ago, I believe. The revenue is a lot more than what it was last year, about $91,000 more revenue at this time. And again, that's only not even 2 months. So that gives you an idea of how much revenue goes through our student nutrition department too. And she does an amazing job, for sure. And then we've got one more. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our energy management. So we hired a new energy management guy this year, and he has been tremendous at digging deep and trying to come up with new ways by talking to other districts, by talking to our E3 guys, and he deals with Josh Combs a lot, and he's constantly trying to find some secret that's going to be able to save us lots of money. He's done a good job, but it's just difficult to see that much savings when we've got so many campuses. Just to tell you what he's done, we've got the set points from 71 to 74. This year we changed. A lot of the two-stage units, the first stage wasn't running very long, so it wasn't getting the moisture out of the air, so we changed that to run for 20 minutes. And when the moisture is out of the air, it actually feels cooler than it really is in there, so it doesn't take as much when that second stage comes on. So it saves us a little bit of money doing it that way. So that's one thing that we've done. He's had discussions with CoServe and NRG to see what type of programs we would qualify for to get money back. When he's done that, we've shown a savings enough to where we don't qualify for anything. So we've been doing pretty good for what we've got. Josh Combs and E3 have made us a pilot school at the 6th grade center. They've labeled each one of those units, and they're trying to put together this computer system to where you can go to that exact unit and it pulls up every part on that unit, so it speeds up the time in purchasing things and helps you keep track of the maintenance and all the checks and things you've done on that unit.
So I'll just add to, the person who was doing this role went into a different role last year, and so we absorbed this into Coach Moses' position, who is also our golf coach, stadium manager, and all things what else with Coach Moses. But he's taken this on, and he has done an incredible job. He has owned it. He has a great attitude with it, and he's got a fun personality, which helps when you're trying to have conversations about energy management. It's not always the easiest thing to talk with teachers and staff about, but he does a great job with that, and I know he's well supported by you and Liz and everyone in the department, but I just wanted to make note of that because he has taken this and just run with it exceeded our expectations, I would say, in being able to do as much as he's done in the short amount of time he's taken this role on. So I'm looking forward to everything in the future for him with that.
And he wanted to make sure that you saw this last thing here. So, that's what it looks like when school's out.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it just drop off drastically.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing everything he can to save every dime that we possibly can. So that's definitely good for you to see.
Are there any units that are just totally off for the summer? Other than like
Totally
we use
on?
for off?
Off?
Like, I know we use for summer school and probably at the high school, I imagine there's
So
on, but do we have anything that's
They
ever
have to
just-
run because of the technology and everything,
Well,
but they'll just
that
be
was my
high. They'll
question.
just be high set points.
Okay.
So they just bump up the set points so that if they get to 80, they're still going to come on and make sure equipment and things don't. We
think
don't just
80
turn them off.
Yeah, 80 or 85 is
80,
pretty much where you have to stay, I think, not only for,
Okay,
for
so
tech
we
stuff,
keep
but
it,
for
it keeps
floors,
it dry, it
carpets, all
keeps
that.
it,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mhm.
So then the issues that we were having at the beginning of the year with some of those failures is because we were putting more of a demand on the system.
Right.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Mhm.
So Greg makes us have a pretty high demand on the IDF and electrical rooms. So those have to stay a little bit lower than 80 degrees.
Gotcha,
But
okay.
everywhere else we have 80 degrees is a set point. So that
Okay.
way we don't have to cool it that much. But when it gets closer to school next year, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we turn it on for one full week. Even though it's going to cost us some money, we've got to make sure that we have all these problems taken care of before
Everybody starts showing
first
up.
day of school,
Okay,
for sure.
thank you.
You bet. Any other questions?
Mhm.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Tell Nathan you did good with the chart.
Yeah,
The
tell him we
graph.
saw the chart.
Yeah, we saw the graph, he did good.
Okay, our next, this is actually going to be safety security update. So we are blessed by the presence tonight of Chief Davis and Mr. Lemish.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. Good evening. That looks good. Mike, you want to run that? There you go, big
They're a
time.
great team. They got it down.
That's right. Well, good evening. We are so excited tonight to present our upcoming presentation series. It is we have named it the EASE campaign. It's Engaging AISD in Safety Education. Dr. Daniel, myself, and Michael Lemish, we cannot say enough how important it is that collectively, not just the district but also the community, how important it is that we work together. And I think one of the spots that we would like to improve upon is just educating the district on our safety protocols, policies, and procedures. This is the start of something that can hopefully grow into something larger at some point. But we think it's so important that we get our messaging out there and we properly educate the district on the fact that we do lead the way. We do an incredible job from a safety and security standpoint, not just from the administrative side, but also from the law enforcement side. We understand that anxiety, school safety anxiety right now is at an all-time high. And we understand that. And over the last several weeks, through whether it be school threats, whether it be a hostile political environment, whatever it might be, this is the time where we need to reach out and we need to bring our community in tighter. This is a wonderful community. #1 school in Denton County, #9 in the state, I heard earlier. So why not continue that tradition in the safety and security aspect? This is how we're going to do it. So you can go to the next one. Very good. And I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm just going to read directly off the slide here. So Argyle ISD, in partnership with the Argyle ISD Police Department, is pleased to announce their upcoming presentation series, Engaging AISD in Safety Education. The EASE campaign is designed to educate and equip district parents and stakeholders with critical information on the safety and security protocols in place across our schools. By providing these educational presentations, our goal is to ease community-wide anxiety over school safety, empowering parents with the knowledge they need to understand that we are working to protect our students and staff together through engagement and collaboration. We can ensure a safe and secure environment for all. again, this is just the basis of what we are going to do. The way we are going to pull this off is we're actually going to go to each individual campus here over probably the next 10 to 12 weeks or so. We would like to have it done before we break for Christmas. I think that's a little less than 10. We are going to promote this at the campus level, and we're going to promote it aggressively. Our campus officers are going to be a big part of that. Michael Lemish and his team is going to be a big part of that. What we want to do is we want to go to these campuses. We want to fill rooms, gyms, wherever this might be. We want parents to come in and learn about what we do here from a safety and security standpoint. And we're going to get into some of those bullet points as we go. The reason why we wanted to do it on a smaller, more micro level at the district campuses is because each campus is going to have its own personality. That's what makes this place great. Also, the age difference, you're going to have, there's going to be certain concerns that a K through 5 or pre-K through 5 campus is going to have than a high school. And we want to be able to address those, have Q&As, and be open and honest about what we are doing every single day to protect our state, or protect the safety, or keep our staff and students safe. So if you could go to the next slide, and we'll kind of dive into some of those bullet points. Michael Lemish first.
Yep. So I'm just going to go briefly over some of the topics we're going to hit, and obviously we'll hit in a lot more depth when we actually go to the campuses, but we're going to talk about drills, both what the state mandates are, but then also what we do. So we go above and beyond with everything. In Argyle, we do it with athletics, we do it with fine arts, we do it with academics. So school safety has never been an exception to that. We go above and beyond in all that we do. We'll talk about standard response protocol. There's always a lot of confusion when emails or messages go out about a hold or a secure and what's the difference, or a lockdown or evacuation. We'll go over all those things, kind of get the basics of that down. We'll talk about Centegix. Again, I am a big fan of that product. It has been really good for our district with our emergency response and how quickly and rapidly we can get to a scene and assist with whatever's needed. So we'll talk about staff alerts and lockdowns, how that works, what the responders see on their phone, just give everybody an idea of that. We'll talk about Sentinel a little bit. Sentinel is TEA's kind of school safety platform. Everything school safety is on there. So all data, all documents that relate to school safety, everything goes through Sentinel. It's all our district vulnerability assessments, the intruder detection audits, the door, all that stuff. Threat assessments are going to start going through there next August. There's a lot that goes into Sentinel. So we'll talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about some of the medical things that and training that we have. So all staff go through in their compliance training over the summer, do diabetes, anaphylaxis, seizure training. But then we also are up over 110 different individuals around the district that have stop the bleed training, as well as CPR and AED trained. So that, I think, is a huge thing and a really important tool just to be there. And if there's any sort of medical situation, can we handle it until paramedics can get there and get that student or staff member to a higher level of care. We'll talk about the Armed Staff Program. Obviously, there's some things we can't talk about with that, but there's a lot that we can, and we'll just get information out. There's always a lot of questions about the Armed Staff Program. I am tremendously proud of that program and what it has become. It's a great team of people who give up a lot of time and work really hard to make sure that they can be there and respond in that worst case scenario. Again, it's a lot of time spent on something hopefully we'll never ever use, but it is an important thing that we have here. We'll talk about behavioral threat assessments. This has been a big push from the state over the course of the last year. We've done a lot kind of revamping our process, a lot of additional training and meetings on each campus with counselors and administrators on threat assessments. Essentially, anytime there's any sort of threat to self, threat to others, we run at least a portion of that process. So we'll talk about how that works. We'll talk about bullying and cyberbullying. That's always kind of a big topic, and those words get thrown around a lot, but sometimes it doesn't really meet what the definition of that is. So we'll kind of define it and talk about how that works. We'll also talk about, and this is really one of the probably most important things, is the importance of reporting, the see something, say something type approach. So anonymous alerts, we use Gaggle, all those things. We'll talk about the basics of those. And then another one that I have on here is just confidentiality of FERPA. You might look at that and think, well, what does that have to do with school safety? We've seen several times already this year where there have been sometimes just rumors of things, rumors about a student or rumors about a situation, and then sometimes different various things, right, discipline related. And then parents, community members will come, well, what did you do about it? What are you doing with this kid? well, we can't talk about that. So we're trying to make sure everybody understands, there's limits to what we can say. Anytime you're dealing with school safety and security, there's going to be limits, things we're not going to get into. And then FERPA also kicks in on some of this as well. So just making sure everybody knows we can't talk about another student with parents or community members.
Mr. Lemish, I just wanted to say real quick on behavioral threat assessments, that's another one of those unfunded mandates essentially. So that is something that is required. It takes staff at various levels, campus, all the way down to teachers, counselors, and it's pretty time consuming with no additional support for them. So that is a new
very time consuming for our counselors, assistant principals. Yep. It is our law enforcement. If it goes to the actual full assessment, they're drawn in. There's classroom teachers, there's sped department, so it hits a lot of different areas. And it can be time consuming. I think we've done over 60 assessments already this school year. So it's a lot. So it is. Okay. All right. With that, I'll hand it back to Chief Davis.
If I might say, on the behavioral threat assessments, we've had several districts who have reached out to us to see how we are doing things. Direct reflection of what Mike does. And I mentioned earlier it's Mike and his team. No, I was wrong there. It's Mike. This is Mike and his team right here. But truly incredible things. And come to these presentations to learn more of what he's doing and what we're doing collectively, but specifically a lot of the stuff that he's put together is fantastic. And then as far as, we'll wrap it up here, the police department, I'm still meeting district or district parents, stakeholders, people in this community who did not know we had an ISD police department. I still to this day meet them on a weekly basis probably. Oh, I thought we were Argyle PD. I thought we were, no. This is the time. We need to get that out. There's no reason why that should be the case at this point. One of the fun things I enjoy talking about is our mission, vision, values, but also our credentials. If you find out the individuals, the officers who work with this police department here, it will blow your mind. But a lot of people don't even know it. So come find that stuff out. There's legal authority that we have to go over. An ISD police department does function slightly differently than a municipality or sheriff's department, sheriff's office, federal. But also at the same time, it's also the same thing. It's very, very interesting. And then what our role is in AISD, also, what do we do on a day-to-day basis? This is an opportunity to come find out and learn about it. We are so excited to have open questions, FAQs, the whole bit. It is going to be great, I'm telling you, and it's our step towards inviting that community, and that is our goal. That is our goal, and we can't wait. So be looking out for the marketing and the promotion on that stuff at your campus here in the next 10 weeks or so.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you both.
Thank you both. As you're changing that, there's a lot of communication, a lot of things coming out from the district, so it's a two-way street. So we want to make sure those that are coming and receiving information, processing it, digesting it, asking questions, because that's where you're the most educated that way. So thank you, guys.
All right. So tonight, for information, I've got the results of our latest RFQ that was issued for architectural services. So we had 18 firms respond this time, and it is a professional services, so we don't award based on fees. We make the recommendation and award based on qualifications. So that's what this process does, is ask them to submit their qualifications, and that gets reviewed and scored. So only the firms that you do approve are eligible to provide architectural services. And so this list was compiled based on those firms that scored at least a 90% on the criteria that we looked at, which would involve personnel, company experience, personnel experience, things like that we reviewed. So at the bottom, we've got the firms listed, the 18 firms that responded. So the ones that I've got highlighted there, those are the ones that scored at least a 90%. So these are the ones that we would be making a recommendation be approved next month. So they are Corgan, Huckabee, BBK, Pfluger, VLK, and WRA. So 5 of those are actually firms that were recommended and approved last time we did this, which I believe was in 23. And then this time we had 6 make that 90% cut, so the addition of Pfluger this time.
And I would like to recognize Pfluger's principal, Isabella Crisino Lee, is here in the audience tonight, so thank you for coming. In case they have any questions, we can have you pop there. And then also, Marty's here as well for VLK if you have any other questions regarding VLK, but appreciate you coming tonight. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so this list has grown from 3 to 6, I think, if I'm not over the last couple of years.
We had 3 a few years ago, then last year we had 5, and then now this is 6.
And so remind me and my friend Rich, because I know he's new and I forget this. So when you have a project that we're going out to bid on, or you submit it to these 6 architects, or you submit it to one, right? Or how does that work?
We request fees from one, so
From one.
we've got to work to identify which firm we
Of
think
the
is going to
6.
be the best fit for the project, and then we go out, request the fees, and work to negotiate a contract. But if that has to fail before I can then go to
number 2.
another firm. So we have to fail at that negotiation, fail to come to that agreement.
And then you can
on the
never go
fees.
back to the previous
You can
one.
no more
then
go
you can't
back.
go back.
This is the ridiculousness.
Another legislative brainchild.
Yeah, you don't get to you say, hey, this is the project, give me 6 bids.
Correct.
No, it's
You
based
pick.
on qualifications.
That would be too easy.
Yeah, that'd be
Way
too
too
that'd
easy.
be that would almost be like what happens in real world.
Like
It would be.
Yeah.
Hence, what's in politics.
Okay. And then, is there a project that we have that we haven't hired an architect on right now? I mean, all our 22 bond projects.
No, that we don't have an architect
that we
on?
don't. Yeah.
No, we have an architect on everything.
Everything in the previous
That is a
bonds.
requirement. And there's a lot of different rules, but basically, anything we're gonna do at this point is going to require that architect or an engineer because of the dollar value involved.
Okay. Yeah.
So yes, current bond projects are all assigned at this point. Mhm. So
really
future
not.
bond projects would be, would not have been assigned.
So just to reiterate, these are, of these 6, or the current 5, they're selected based on previous projects that are closely related to our project, whatever that project may be.
Yes, that's absolutely some of the criteria we're
So
looking at.
you are able to go to them and say, hey, we're gonna do a stadium, send me all the stadiums you've done.
Absolutely. And that's the process we go through to try to identify who we feel is gonna be the best fit before we take that step and ask for some fees.
Are we able to ask those, maybe I shouldn't ask this in public. Are we able to ask those previous customers, hey, now granted, I know things change before Marty has a heart attack. Are we able to ask them, hey, was that a $500 per square foot, or was it $250? Can the customers tell us where they were with regard to the rates of the various?
I mean, absolutely, but that information, what they submit, that is information that they actually provide. Now, that's only for the projects that they do submit, but they
Right,
typically
that's what
will
I'm saying.
give us the prices
Trying
and
to
the
figure
square
out a way to
footage.
get an idea of where they came in against each other before I actually asked them for fees.
Absolutely.
Do we just know the logic behind that thing? I mean, I just
government.
want. I mean, other than it's a lobbyist deal, and hey, we're going to go down there and we're going to have an architectural lobby the legislatures to make this change that will prevent us from going to the market and getting a bid on the project.
Yeah, I think it all goes back to the professional services and, engineering, architecture, accounting, all of those things. Now, why they came up with it, I don't know, but it's got to do with the fact that it's professional service. I'm sure it involves the amount of education that goes into becoming an architect or an engineer or a public accountant.
Do other governments have these same restrictions, or
Yes.
just in public ed?
It's basically any public entity is going to have these same type requirements.
We need to, public education funding needs to hire the architectural lobby.
Truth.
And Bella and Marty are like.
Just saying. They're obviously very good.
Okay. All right, so you'll bring this back in October for approval?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, November.
November.
We're already in October. November for approval.
Next
Okay,
week.
perfect. Thank you.
We can approve it tonight if you want. I'm ready. And next, for you, I've got, basically, we're planning to bring final reconciliation, final change order for Jane Russman to you next month. I don't have a dollar figure yet. We've been going through it, the POG team and myself, and right now I can tell you it looks like we're going to be getting back between $200,000 and $300,000 on that project out of the GMP that was not spent between the contingencies and buyout savings. So it wasn't close enough to be able to identify it any closer than that, but I did want to let you know that we plan to bring that next month.
And that was even after the overage.
Yes, after.
I mean, that is quite a bit of a difference in price originally.
Mm-hmm.
You mean the 43 million?
Yeah.
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 Oh.
There won't be any additional time. We were able to achieve substantial completion within the contract time about a month early, so we're not extending the contract time with this. It'll just be a final deductive change order.
To Polk's credit, they got that thing open.
They did.
And there was a time I wasn't real sure that was going to happen. So I just, I don't know how they're going to build that school that fast, but they did.
Yep, they did. So I'm going to give you some money next month. Just don't know how much.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sibs and dips.
Sips and dips. So our campus and district improvement plans are strategic plans that guide our continual improvement process. So these plans are presented to the district and the campus teams for feedback and changes. There are no significant changes in any of the plans this year as we are working on our collaborative visioning process, which kicks off on November the 12th. But I'm going to outline some of the common changes you'll see in the district plan. There are no major changes. The only thing that was changed is a few times where we reassigned who was responsible for a particular project. That was the only change in the district plan. In our elementary school plans, it was a lot of switching out of words. So instead of one curriculum, it may switch to the most current curriculum or just say district approved curriculum. There was a lot of emphasis on positive behavior interventions and supports, as well as professional learning communities and data walls. At our 6th grade center, once again, just changing the wording to maybe who is responsible for certain things or which curriculum they're using. At the middle school, more emphasis on aligning CTE curriculum with the high school, changing who is responsible from maybe from a campus technology person to a librarian, and then our most current curriculum, as well as beginning the planning session for moving into a new building. At the high school, removed just some old wording with COVID, added some of the current tests that are being administered, such as ASVAB to students, changed who's responsible for some things, and some specific clubs were either omitted or added depending on what was most current there. So it's being presented tonight for information only and back to you next month for action. Do you have any questions for me? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Daniel, you're up.
Anytime any of our elementary classrooms grades K to 4 go over 22, we're required by state law to request a waiver. And we have been at that point, and we monitor our numbers very frequently. And what you see on the screen is actually not what we're asking for the approval for. Jane Russman does not have a class with 23 students at this time. We had 3 students leave. Actually 4 students in kindergarten at Jane Russman that have left that campus. We believe 3 of them are at Hilltop.
which means that we will probably be coming back most likely in November for another waiver for those classrooms, because we are at capacity at kindergarten at Hilltop. And at this time, we are over capacity in one kindergarten class and one first grade class. We continue to monitor this and look for other options. And Dr. Carpenter, I don't know if you want to add anything else, or?
Yeah, I can just kind of from a historical perspective, last year we brought, I think what we found, we went back and looked, we had some waivers at South. Anytime a waiver is needed in the last 12 weeks of the school year, you don't have to bring that to the board. So we did go over in some of the other grade levels and campuses, but it was later in the year. The year before that, it was West, grades 3 and 4, and then prior to that, it was back during the 13-14 school year. So the past couple of years, there's been a little bit of history with that. You know, one of the things that we just really kind of want to know, the state requires a waiver regardless, just because we're over, so it's a compliance piece. One of the other things that, you know, we've kind of been discussing internally as a team, but also with you guys to, you know, feedback from you, is looking at options as we get to a point like we are here at Hilltop. I mean, we're talking 24 in kindergarten classrooms, and we have essentially one classroom left over there, potentially could squeeze another one. You know, what are our options? Do we look at hiring another teacher? Do we look at potentially paras in some of those classrooms? But it's not just that campus. Like when we're looking at how many seats we have available across the district in different grade levels, we have several grade levels, you know, a handful of them that have fewer than 5 seats available right now from a 22-to-1 standpoint. So just kind of an opportunity for you to discuss and maybe give us some direction on your preference based on, you know, just what we're thinking in general. But right now, that's where we are.
Well,
And
I'd
then
love
when-
to get feedback.
I'm sure you would. So we're
When
here
we do
for
look
it.
at options, earlier this year, we had to add a teacher at in 4th grade at Hilltop, and we didn't just go over. We went and we talked to Ms. Campbell, and she met with her staff to decide, you know, whether or not you guys, at this point in the year, it was very early in the year, so you know there was still an option of adding a teacher at that time, because we still had that position from the budget before. 23-24 budget, or did they want an aide? Because of the numbers, we went ahead and added a teacher, although they were a little concerned with that because, you know, having a brand new staff member and having to hold their hand potentially and disrupt the other classes is kind of a big thing. But we definitely get input from the campus as far as when it gets down to making those types of decisions.
And so essentially, we've added 3 teachers back, 2 right before school started at Russman, and then the 1 at Hilltop in 4th grade. So we've already added 3 back at the very beginning.
Well, historically speaking, I think we have typically, I think we should probably grant or approve the waiver because we're over.
Right.
And we need to, but my feedback to the administration and to you, Mr. Daniels, is to encourage Dr. Daniels to get the feedback that from these teachers that are experiencing these waivers. And the reason I asked that this time is because I think in the past, you know, where we had elementary schools that didn't have any room, so there was just, even if we wanted to hire a teacher, we didn't have a classroom. And I understand we may have a little window here at some of these campuses with just some space to potentially, instead of just granting waivers, if there is, hey, no, this is too much, or this classroom's too challenging, I would like to encourage the administration and the board to have an appetite to maybe meet that need in that hallway, whether that's an aide, the paraprofessional, or an actual new section. I think we should consider that as we go forward. And you know, I don't know. I mean, does Hilltop have like 5 sections of kindergarten?
We have 4 right now.
We do have 4.
Or some campuses have maybe 7,
6.
7. So it's, you know.
We lost 1 section right before school started because enrollment was.
So
We were slated for 5, but enrollment was too low. So
the
now they're here.
I think the concern I have about giving that feedback of, hey, let's go find out, you know, how can we let these teachers know that I believe, and I hope this board believes, hey, we want to send some reinforcement your way because we know we've stacked those classes pretty full, is there at some point during the year we may hit a capacity problem.
Right.
With classrooms, right?
And then what do we,
Right.
then it's like, then we're back to the old challenge that we're in. So I don't know if we can do this throughout the whole year, but if we have space, I would like to see us at least engage the staff.
And I think the message is, this board has an appetite to support our educators. But trust in the administration and the campus principals to get the feedback from the teachers saying what do they feel is best. But I think ultimately if there is someone out there that we open a position, and just because we open a position doesn't mean we're going to fill that position. There may not be the right caliber of candidate that this district desires. And so option one might be to add a section with the teacher. If we find the teacher that fits what this district is looking for in an educator, but if that person's not there, then the next step might be to add an aide, or if there's not space this year. But always looking for the best option that fits that puzzle of, it fits the needs of the campus. It's what's best for the students and the teachers and administration, and within the budget as best as we can as well. So I agree with you, Mr. Westrom. So I want that on record.
Took him a while to get there, but
he
got
could have
there.
started with that and then just cut out the rest.
You would have stopped listening.
Well, you know, we as a board can always look at numbers, and we're presented with numbers and scenarios and what's available, how many rooms are there, you know, how many kids are there, how many teachers. Budget obviously is a concern. But I really feel like teachers and you guys, principals, you know best what's on your campus. You know what's going on at a particular grade level or a department. You know where they have those needs, and I just really feel that it's important that we get, like I agree with Mr. Westrom, that we get, you know, the feedback from them directly to know what are the options, because what we think might be the thing that might work may not be what they think. And I think just collaboratively, if we all get together, because I think listening to the teachers is very, very important. And, you know, some of them are in a, you know, we've given them some larger class sizes this year for reasons that we all understand about. And I just think it's very important that they have a little bit of a say and some input in how these situations are handled moving forward, so.
And the teacher's a very important part of the equation, but I think at the starting point is what's in the best interest of the student.
Right.
You know, is it in the best interest of the student to be in this class of this size at this level? And, you know, maybe in some classes where the things are rolling along, you got a really strong teacher, you got really good kids, you got really supportive parents, it's not that big of a deal. But there may be a class of, you know, that it's probably not meshing as well, and they may need that support. So I don't know, maybe it's a waiver in some classes and not in others. Depends on the configuration.
It's a case-by-case basis, age of the
And
students.
is it more detrimental to put them with a caliber educator that we wouldn't typically hire just to get a class ratio lower, or is it have a higher ratio and add a para to that class, and you know what's best for the kids?
And that's not our decision necessarily to make.
No,
That's y'all's
no,
decision
not
to
at
make.
all.
It's just I
just
want
saying
them-
that we have an appetite for that. Like
Yeah.
we want y'all to look at it. And,
If that's
and
the feedback,
discuss
bring
it.
back on the next agenda, you know, something that we can approve that meets that need.
One of the things that I'll add about first grade at Hilltop, we have one class that has 23 students, but the overall ratio is actually, it's below 22 to 1. They're at that campus doing what's best for those kids. There's a class there that has 23, but there's another one that has, I believe, 18. And we could easily balance that out without looking at the kids. But when you look at the kids and who's moving into those classrooms as far as special ed and needing accommodations, then that's why we're here for that waiver.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And just so I'm clear, you expect this to be pretty consistent going forward in the coming months, all throughout the district.
Right.
All four
I mean,
elementary schools.
looking at different times of the year, like after Thanksgiving, after Christmas, when we usually have an influx of people that are transitioning to new
Right after the
districts.
semester.
Semester.
'Cause we have 2 grade levels that are just 2 seats, and that's it. We have 2 with 4 seats, and we have 3 with 5 seats. So across the campuses.
I'm guessing that's at South and JRE, or are you talking about grades or actually specific?
Grade levels at specific campuses. It's across. I mean, West is in there. They've only got 5 kinder spots. Hilltops, we've already talked about. South has 5 second grade spots, and then JRE has 4 and 2. Yeah. So every campus has somebody that's 5 or fewer spots.
Very close to the threshold.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And when are we slated to open our next elementary?
2027.
So, 2 more school years.
Mhm.
Well, this year plus 2 more school years. Yeah.
As it relates to the waiver, I think, obviously we need to approve it.
Right. So this waiver, the way it's presented needs to be adjusted because Rustman does not have one at this point.
And did we have an elementary school on this last bond?
We did.
It was for our next.
It was for number 6.
So that puts us at least a year behind what we would have wanted.
6.
Yep.
And just like we've been sharing in our meetings, community meetings, we're at a 13.5% elementary growth rate right now, which is above our 12% 5-year average. So we're feeling it right here.
Well, the kids are feeling it, the teachers are feeling it, principals are feeling it.
We're glad they're here. We are glad they're all here.
Yes.
But there has been a vision to have more facilities for our students. So, all right. I will entertain a motion to approve action item 12A with the amendment that the waiver for Jane Rustman Elementary be removed, only having Hilltop Elementary's 2 waivers on that amendment.
Removed because it's not needed.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
So moved. But there is a need, just to be clear, for kindergarten for actually 3 sections. But when this was prepared.
Yes, we'll be back in November
back
for the
in
rest of
November
the
for
kindergarten.
But we're aware of that.
Yes.
Can you say it again?
No, I got you. Mr. Hawksworth, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Westrom, second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you, Dr. Daniel.
Thank you.
I'm back to ask for action. So, we talked last month about the buses that are needed, and I am going to come to you again after Christmas at some point when we decide exactly what we want to do, and ask for more. So we're a little bit farther along. But as for now, we recommend that we purchase the 4 new international buses, 1 sped and 3 regular.
Anyone have any other questions for Mr. Ledford? Again, it's presented last month. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve action item 12B as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Matthew Slayton, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Westrom, second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, our last item is, we actually shared with you the legislative priority recommendations, the draft back in September, so this is just coming back to you for action. We have not, I think we made one, can you pull up the priorities? I think we made one adjustment, it was just it was a dollar amount there, but it's the 1,200, yeah, so the base allotment to 1,200, generate approximately 9 million. So these priorities have remained the same. We have in here why it's important to us as a district. I do want to note that 2 weeks ago, Representative Richard Hayes came in and sat down and met with Ms. Stewart and myself, and we went line item by line item with this priority sheet. He made notes, he took it with him, because he asked us additional questions as to how this was impacted. Like he had very thoughtful questions. It was a very good conversation, so we very much appreciated him coming in and sitting down with us. But you'll notice several things on there, from just basic allotment to implementing, just simply implementing the recommendations from the governor's task force on teacher vacancy, studying the cost of educating all students, especially our students with special needs, and then also eliminating recapture on voter approved tier 2 copper pennies, which we're dealing with right now with the Vader that's on the ballot in November. So those are priorities have remained the same over the course of the month. As far as feedback from the board has been to move forward with those.
Thank Representative Hayes for each
The
of
first
them.
one is the basic allotment. The second one is for them to implement the actual recommendations from the governor's teacher vacancy task force, because in there it talks about the basic allotment.
And
I know
we didn't touch the enrollment versus average daily attendance.
we did not with that one, just because we've been what we've been
got
getting
the
from that. But the two things that we are hearing them talk about is the teacher incentive allotment and the LASSO grant. Is that what it's called, Dr. Jordan?
LASSO.
And so while we are exploring those and we are putting together to try to free up some of those dollars, it's very minimal for us compared to districts that are rural or have low socioeconomic numbers. So even though they'll say the money's out there, districts aren't going to get it. We are attempting to get what we can, but with having such high socioeconomic status in this district, we're not eligible for much of that. So it doesn't work for everybody. So,
Okay, well.
anyway.
Anyone else have any other comments? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve action item 12C as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Hawksworth, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Rich McDowell, second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. The time is 7:47 PM. We are adjourned.